I'm going to begin today with a story, and it's called Who Knows? The Farmer's Son, and Fortune or Misfortune. So there was an old farmer who worked the lands, and he had an old poor horse that would work with him. And one day, the old farmer had compassion on the horse and realized it was time to let the horse go. So he bid the horse farewell so the horse could be free and go live in the mountains. And the neighborhood and the village people would come by and say, "Oh my goodness, that's terrible. You don't have a horse. How are you going to work the land and prosper just with no horse? And how misfortunate." And the old farmer just says, "Who knows? We'll see." Well, 2 days later, the horse comes back. The old horse comes back. And he's a lot livelier, and he brings with him 12 healthy young horses. And now the neighbors are coming by and going, "Oh my goodness, what great fortune you have. You're got to be so happy." And the old farmer just goes, "Who knows? We'll see." The next day, the son gets up and he wants to tame the wild horses. So he gets up on the wild horses and he gets thrown off and he breaks his leg. The neighbors come by again. "How unfortunate. You must be really upset. You're going to have to work the land without your son and now. How unfortunate." Old farmer says, "Who knows? We'll see." And so then there's a war that breaks out, and the government comes along and starts saying all the young men need to join the army, except the one son, because he has a broken leg and he's unfit. And of course, the neighbors come by and go, "How fortunate you get. He doesn't have to go to war. So lucky are you." And the old farmer says, "Who knows? We'll see." Well, the leg healed and he got better, except now that he walked with a limp. The neighbors again lamented and said, "That's so unfortunate that he's got a limp and he's got a lame leg. That's just so sad." And of course, the old farmer says, "Who knows? We'll see." Well, it happened to be that all of the young men that got taken into the army, they all died. And so there was no able men to work the lands in the village except for the old farmer and the son. And so they worked the lands and became very prosperous, and they were very generous to the villagers. And the villagers said, "How fortunate we are. We are so lucky. We're so blessed." And the old farmer said, "Who knows? We'll see." So that's the story, because it's about being free and unattached to the results of things that are happening. So we tend to judge. We have something that happens and we're like, "Oh, that's fortunate. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, that's great. That's not so great." So we have this tendency to want to judge things according to how we are choosing to see things, right? So the question is, what do you see when you look at life? Do you see obstacles? Do you see opportunities? Or something in between? The truth is, we rarely see things as they are. We see them through only one lens. We only see things through one lens. And so we never really see things as they are. We see things as we perceive them to be. They're not usually what they are. It's just our perception. And good and bad are just labels that we put upon things. In reality, what we teach are universal life principles, and our principle number one in unity is God is all there is. So if we're saying God is all there is that mean that there's good and bad in God? We tend to label, we put them in categories, but we are teaching that everything is God in expression. Isn't that interesting? Very good. When we see something as negative or bad, we are looking through it only through one lens. What if we shifted our perception to looking for the good instead? Okay, we have the power to look for good or not good. That is our choice. And the truth is, the only thing that is standing between us and our good happens to be our thoughts and our beliefs. Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of the Science of Mind teachings, which is a new thought teaching, the same as unity teaching. I believe that Science of Mind teachings and unity are basically the same teachings for the most part. So Ernest Holmes says, the barriers between you and your greater good are not barriers in themselves. They are things of thought. Our barriers are things of thought. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, very good. I had to relearn that, isn't that interesting, just this last week, because I think I forgot to use my neutral observer. And so I'm practicing it with you, reminding myself that that part is necessary to live a sane life and not get caught up in things. Back to Ernest. He said, it is because of this that our barriers are our thoughts. It is possible for us to have faith. And Jesus summed it up in one proposition when he said, it is done unto you as you believe. It is done unto us as we believe. And the interesting thing is we have beliefs. We have conscious beliefs and we have subconscious beliefs. Beliefs that we made as a child. I know I have childhood beliefs. Things like I can't have what I want. Or what's the other one? That's a big one. I can't have what I want, or it's not possible, or I can't this, or I can't that. People are going to leave me and are not going to be there, or I'm abandoned when I cry. Just these beliefs that we have, that we get, but we don't even know that they're running the computer in our minds. So it's important to look at our beliefs. If we're caught up with something that we don't like, what's the belief that I hold that's holding me? And his other quote from the Science of Mind text says, the thing that stands between you and your greater good is a thing of thought and nothing else. The only thing that stands between me and my greater good is my thoughts and nothing else. Boy, that puts a lot of responsibility on me. And sometimes I'm choosing thoughts that are not serving me well. Or maybe they are serving me. By the way, you can have thoughts that are serving you, and they might not be a greater good, but all thoughts serve us in some way. I love this line. It is not reality that you must change, but your mental reaction to it. My mental reaction to something that is going on. So I don't know about you, but I like to change the outside world because that's going to make me feel better. And guess what? It doesn't. It might temporarily give me a thing, but it's my thoughts that are becoming the problem. So we have this teaching, and we know that changing our mental reaction is the key. How easy is that? Right? I mean, I don't know about you, but we know this, but it's easier said than done. So the question is there a technique, a way, or a tool that I can use, that you can use every day, that can support us in shifting our beliefs and our perspective from a negative viewpoint to a more positive one? Is there a technique, a tool, or a way to shift my perception from negativity to positivity? And the answer is yes. Would you like to know what it is? Okay. It's easy. It's okay. I would cry too. It's right? Yeah, absolutely. Babies cry. That's God. That's an expression of God, and you know, it's just take the baby outside, and he does that very well. So back to the technique. It begins with two small words. What if? The words are what if. Now, as humans, we have minds that are set up to protect us, to keep us safe, and to avoid pain. Let me say that again. Our minds have one job, and that is survival. To survive, my mind is like a sentry in a crow's nest on a ship, always looking out for danger. Oh, that could hurt. That might not be good. So it's always looking out for danger. And my mind is looking out for danger, and so is yours, whether we know it or not. We want to stay safe. That is to survive, to protect ourselves, and to avoid pain. So our what ifs tend to go to the negative things. For instance, what if I fail? You know, you get an opportunity, but what if I fail? That might not work well for me, so maybe I won't move forward. What if I'm not good enough? Okay, these are all things that stop me from going forward because I need to stay protected and safe, and I don't want to feel any pain, so these are my what ifs. What if it doesn't work? Yeah, what if it doesn't work? I don't think I want to go there. What if it's just a waste of time? There's one for you. You know, that's just a waste of time. I'm just not interested. What if I'm rejected, put down, made fun of? Ooh, stay away from that, right? Anything that could put me in there. What if everything goes wrong? What if if I plan it and I take a risk and nothing works out the way I thought it would? It's terrible. I've failed. I've lost maybe some money. Maybe I've lost a relationship. What if something bad happens? What if I get hurt? You know, I don't know about you, but I don't go, oh, let me just try this. It could hurt, but let's do it anyway. That's just not our human self. That is our minds wanting to keep us safe. There's nothing wrong with the mind trying to keep us safe. However, we can go to the opposite direction, right? We can go into, what if I succeed and it's better than I could have imagined? I played with what ifs all this week. You're going to get an invitation to do what ifs in the positivity all this week, just giving you knowledge of this. So here's going to be some what ifs that I wrote down. What if I'm good enough and even better than I thought I would be? Wow. And what if it does work out? And what if spending time on this, when I thought it would be wasting time, is actually more worth it than I thought? What if, instead of people putting me down and making fun of me, what if they love me even more and appreciate me and accept me when I take this risk? What if I discover something more important than winning? Sometimes we think we want to win something, but something else comes into it. What if I'm actually stronger and more resilient as taking this action? So these are more general, positive what ifs that we can use. Now I'm going to go into some more expanded ones. What ifs for you to contemplate. What if what I prayed for and affirmed came true? Ooh, what if what I'm praying for and giving thanks for comes into my life? What if I can truly heal my body and experience greater health than I am now? What if? What if a relationship that has been contemptuous can be healed? What if I can experience more love in a relationship than I have up until now? What if? What if I can live the life of my dreams? What if I can have the love partner I've always dreamed of being with? What if I can have all the money necessary and even more to spend, to invest, to share, to help others with? What if I could have more money? What if money is never an issue? I like that one. What if I knew my life's purpose and I was living it every single day? What if I had clarity and the ability to experience and do and have and to be everything that I would love to have, be, do, and experience? What if I had that clarity and ability? These are all opening, right? They're opening us up to the possibilities, not closing us down. What if my longing and discontent were really the signs that my God self is showing me that there's greater good on its way? Yeah, what if your longing and your discontent are actually signs that something greater is coming? What if I stopped worrying and started being grateful for everything in my life? What would that be like if I was not worrying and just grateful? What if I joined a class or a group from Adventures in Faith and actually had more fun, learned things, and had some great new relationships because I connected with people in this 7 weeks? What if that was the best thing I could have ever done? Here's one for you. What if I was completely honest with myself and others? Ooh, does that have any juice? What if I was completely honest with myself and others? What if I fully forgave my parents and anybody who's ever hurt me or that I've been hurt by? What if I totally forgave myself? What if I totally let myself off the hook and told myself I was doing the best I knew how and that I loved myself despite my mistakes and things that I had done that I didn't like doing or did at this time? What if every challenge is an opportunity for me to grow and to evolve? Say that again. What if every challenge is an opportunity for me to grow and to evolve? Last week, Danielle Brooks gave a talk, and she brought to mind something that was challenging in your life. We all have at least one thing, and she had us put it on the chair next to us where we could just accept it for what it was. And then we also did the Ho'oponopono with it. But what if that challenge is an opportunity for me to grow and evolve? Challenges are only opportunities that something greater I can become as if I choose to face it. What if you did what you're most afraid of? Ooh. These are juicy, right? They're a little more juicy than the first ones. Now I'm going to get personal. And there's a part of me that goes, don't do it. Yeah, what if? What if I do it and they don't like me? What if they don't think I'm a good minister anymore? But what if they love me even more, right? So what if I took a risk and shared some things that I've not wanted to share with you for fear of not being inspiring or uplifting? But what if I did? What if your minister shares that she's often lonely and has been dealing with depression for a couple years and struggles with that, both loneliness and depression? What if you all loved your minister more for her honesty? I do. Thank you. I knew I'd have one person. Phew. What if you knew that one way you could support your minister was, and yourself, was to invite your minister to do things with you? And not to think she's so busy all the time, because in truth, she's not that busy. She's busy, but she would love to have more connection with people. What if you invited her to a meal, to a hike, to go to a movie? Maybe that would be pretty supportive of her, and it would also support you in having a connection. Because I think we all have we have probably more depression going on that we don't want to admit to, sadness, frustration, loneliness, than anybody of us wants to speak of. There's something I read this morning, actually, called toxic positivity. I'm like, yeah, toxic positivity, where we're just positive, and when we come together, we're in a soft place where we can land. But how about landing and being able to be honest and open and speak your truth? Maybe we'd feel better. Maybe that we'd be set free because we weren't holding something in. Here's just a couple more. What if I decided to release all my judgments and resentments and pain from the past and live fully in the moment? Just living in the moment, not in the past or in the future. What if I did that and I was fully present all the time? What if what we judge others and ourselves by isn't even true? We're making stuff up about ourselves or others. You think something of yourself, and it's not even true, but your thought says it's true. What if I tell people that I love them? What if I told you that I love you, each of you, individually, one-on-one, instead of just a group, I love you? What if our God self is just waiting for us to let go of all of our stuff and to claim our good, believe it is already there, and let it be revealed? What if our God self is just waiting for us to give up all the stuff that we're getting in the way? What if we just trusted the universe has got our back and has only got our good in store for us? What if I just keep what-ifing all day? We could be here all day. Your mission this week is I'm going to give you this assignment, what if, and how many positive things that you can think of. And when you have a negative moment, turn it around and what if it in a positive light. See if you don't change how you feel, because our thoughts are what controls our feelings, which controls our actions. God is good all of the time. When we are looking for imperfections, we're going to find them. When we are looking at ourselves and only see negative things, we will find more of them. What if we looked for the good in every situation? What if I looked for the good in every situation? What if we looked on all the negative situations and said, this too shall pass? Or as Karen Roberts said to me, this too is a blessing. That one was powerful when she told me that. Yes, Karen, I'm talking about you. This too is a blessing. What if we looked for all the good that could possibly come out of this situation? What if we expected only good to show up? What if today was the day? Thank you.